Welcome to Narrative Nook Audio Tales, where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening.
This potion, when mixed with water, becomes toxic. It will lead to a person feeling drowsy all day, losing their appetite, feeling weak, and becoming sensitive to the cold. In less than a week, the person would waste away. Arabella's gaze fell on Helen. Being able to work here as a nurse indicates that you have some knowledge of pharmacology. Do you know why I suspect you? Because in the medicine I gave to my grandfather, there was an ingredient that could be easily extracted. You're smart. Instead of buying from an outside source, you chose to source it locally. I have no idea what you're talking about. Helen's expression became even more uneasy. Haley is loyal to my grandmother, so I don't suspect her. As for you, what is your motive? Helen, is it really you? Louisa couldn't believe it. Why would you do such a thing? Bella isn't wrong. I believe her. As for you, my mother never bothered you. Why would you harm her? Kenneth was also very angry. It wasn't me. Helen's face was growing paler, and she started to avoid their gaze. Still denying it? Do you know what the consequences are for harming a member of the Collins family? Serena scolded. Cornelia, who was lying in the hospital bed, saw Helen's uneasy expression and already had the answer in her mind. However, she couldn't understand. We have no grudges. Why would you do this? True to her reputation of being a powerful woman for many years, she was still calm in the face of her assailant. Arabella suddenly saw her grandmother in a new light. With just one call, I can make you confess. Louisa was almost certain, anger in her voice. So, do you want to confess here, or at the police station? At the mention of the police station, Helen couldn't hold it in any longer and finally decided to confess everything. Over the past few months, while taking care of Arabella's grandfather, she had grown fond of him and wanted to be by his side. However, when she saw Cornelia wake up, she started to panic, fearing she would never have a chance, so she decided to kill. She thought if Cornelia was dead, Cornelia's husband would choose the person by his side. With her knowledge of pharmacology, she thought she could do it flawlessly. But she didn't expect that before Cornelia even had a sip of the poisoned drink, Arabella had already found out. Who was this girl? Why was she so knowledgeable in medicine? Louisa was speechless after hearing the reason. So, the nurse wanted to kill Cornelia and take her place. And she didn't even consider her own status. Louisa angrily called the hospital, telling them to send Helen to the police station immediately. Cornelia's gaze fell on Arabella. Her decisiveness, calmness, and wisdom in analyzing the situation were indeed impressive. Bella, how did you discover there was something wrong with the water? Cornelia asked affectionately. When this potion is mixed with water and exposed to light, the water becomes a bit cloudy, and there's a tiny bit of powdery substance floating at the bottom of the cup. Because these particles are so small, they are not easy to detect. Anyone who drank water wouldn't notice if it's cloudier than usual, and even if there were tiny, barely visible particles floating in it, they wouldn't be suspicious. You also know about this field. Cornelia was surprised and appreciative. Mom, you have no idea how much Bella knows. Kenneth couldn't stop praising her. She has many good qualities. We're lucky to have you. Cornelia patted Arabella's hand again, then looked at Louisa. Oh, my recovery wouldn't be possible without the doctor's efforts. Please ask them to come over. I would like to thank them in person. Mom, the person who saved you and Dad was Bella. Louisa's words took Cornelia by surprise. Could Bella really know medicine? You and Dad had fallen down the stairs, and by the time you got to the hospital, you were deeply unconscious. The CT scan showed that you had a fractured skull, brain contusion, and multiple fractures all over your body. Dad was even worse off. Louisa reminisced. For over a month, the entire ICU team overcame numerous challenges, from respiratory failure, shock, respiratory tract infections, etc. Every day brought a new challenge. But neither you nor Dad woke up until Bella came to visit you 3 months ago. Louisa looked at Arabella again, saying gently, after she examined you, she immediately knew what was wrong. She provided several treatment options, procuring even the rarest drugs. If it wasn't for her, you might not have woken up. Kenneth chimed in, "Mom, you have no idea how skilled Bella is. Before you, she cured both Philip and Shirley." Cornelia was even more surprised. Philip had undergone several heart surgeries. His heart was practically a patchwork. Even the renowned Dr. James Newton was at a loss. And Shirley, wasn't she in a vegetative state? She's cured too. That's the brilliance of Bella. She is the rumored Dr. Bell, the one who can bring people back from the brink of death. She's Dr. Bell? Cornelia was astounded. She never imagined that the reputed living Hippocrates, the miracle-working Dr. Bell, would turn out to be her own granddaughter. You have no idea how smart Bella is. Not only is she a doctor, but she also knows how to run a company at such a young age. She's as competent as you were back in the day. Kenneth said with a chuckle. During the summer vacation, I gave her our family's struggling clothing company to keep her occupied, and she turned it around. Cornelia remembered the clothing company, which had been teetering on the brink of bankruptcy. I've always said that we, the Collins family, have business in our blood. It must be genetic. That clothing company was nearly bankrupt, but once Bella took over, it came back to life. Now, it's a well-known player in the industry and has seen its sales skyrocket. Kenneth laughed. Bella even started her own clothing conglomerate, QY. You must have heard of it. Cornelia was familiar with QY. Before her accident, she often bought clothes from QY for Serena. I remember QY. Each piece of clothing is designed by their head, Queen Abby. Cornelia said, incredulously. Yeah, all the designs are Bella's creations. Kenneth replied, apart from being a businesswoman, she's also a renowned pianist, known as Melody, a painter named Mirabelle, and a calligrapher named Labella. There's practically nothing she can't do. Cornelia was dumbfounded. How could a teenage girl had so many identities, and each one was a master in their own field? Arabella was blushing from all the praise. Cornelia looked at the girl in front of her, nodding in approval. She's truly exceptional. And she's not just talented, she also aced the college entrance examination, and is now studying at Westerly College. Several esteemed professors are vying to claim her as their protégée. Cornelia's admiration for Arabella grew. She was truly extraordinary for her age. Serena felt uncomfortable. She gripped her skirt tightly, feeling embarrassed. Arabella overshadowed her in every single way. Her parents spoke these words in front of everyone, not even considering her feelings. Cornelia noticed her presence and quietly asked, "And where's Serena? What college is she attending now?" Before she tripped and fell down the stairs, Cornelia remembered Serena as a high school senior. Now time flew and she was already in college. "Grandma, I got into Summerfield College," Serena announced. Although, with Arabella's grades, getting into Summerfield College wasn't an issue. But Serena earned her place at Summerfield College, so there was no harm in being a bit proud of her achievement. Cornelia nodded approvingly. "That's great. Summerfield College is one of the best universities in the country. You've always been a good student." She turned her attention towards Louisa. "What about the engagement?" Louisa explained with a smile. "Romeo fell in love with Bella at first sight, and the Macmillans are very fond of her. Serena also has a boyfriend now, and he's quite a catch." One could say it was like hitting the jackpot. Serena didn't expect the topic of having a boyfriend to keep coming up, and suddenly felt a bit sheepish. At the time, to make everyone believe she wasn't interested in Romeo, Martha had hastily told a white lie for her. She hadn't anticipated that this lie would later require countless more to cover up. Serena has a boyfriend too. This surprised Cornelia because Serena had always been infatuated with Romeo. How could she have moved on so quickly? What do Philip and Shirley think? Cornelia inquired further. They both adore Bella, and even gifted her a necklace symbolizing the future granddaughter-in-law. Romeo's parents are also very pleased with Bella. The teal necklace that Jennifer gave her is a treasure passed down to the daughters of her family for generations. It's been in the family for 5 generations with Jennifer, which shows how much she values Bella. Louisa paused, and then she continued, George gave her a gemstone key engraved with the Macmillan crest, which is said to unlock the Macmillan's secret base, and even their safety deposit box in an overseas bank. Upon hearing this, Serena was flabbergasted. These two gifts were beyond valuable. Unless they fully recognized Arabella's status and deeply loved her, they would never give away these treasures. Cornelia was also taken aback. She hadn't expected Bella to win over the entire Macmillan family. She knew Philip and Shirley well. If they didn't absolutely adore Bella, they would never gift her the necklace. And Jennifer was a strong-willed woman who wouldn't easily accept Bella just because of an engagement agreement, let alone gift her a necklace. Even when Serena had been visiting the Macmillans multiple times, she hadn't received such recognition from Jennifer and George. Thinking about this, Cornelia looked at Arabella again. Not only did Bella have many identities, but she also won over the hearts of everyone in the Macmillan family. She was truly extraordinary. Serena seemed to pale in comparison. After all, Cornelia had dearly loved Serena for 18 solid years, while Arabella was a granddaughter she had just recently met. Hence, Cornelia had showered Serena with more love. When she heard that Serena was not her biological granddaughter and that her excellent fiancé was now out of the picture, she empathized with the girl's plight and feelings, patting Serena's hand in consolation. Perhaps it's destiny, she said softly. I just want to ask you one thing, Serena. Were you and your boyfriend truly in love? Serena could only muster up the courage to give a slight nod. Then bring him to see me another day. Cornelia looked at her lovingly. You grew up being protected, and you can't be wronged by others. I want to see his character and see if he will treat you well in the future. I do hope you will be happy all your life. A surge of emotion washed over Serena. Thank you, Grandma. Indeed, only her grandparents seemed to truly adore her, unlike her parents and brothers who were always revolving around Arabella. Cornelia took Arabella's hand again. You are going to marry into the Macmillan family in the future, so your wedding will be more luxurious than Serena's. At this, Serena was taken aback. Cornelia thought to herself that the Collins and Macmillan family's wedding would undoubtedly be watched by countless eyes. If her biological granddaughter's wedding was on the same scale as that of her adopted granddaughter, it would undoubtedly lead to gossip, suggesting that the Collins family did not value their own blood. Even if the Macmillan family had no objections, their relatives would surely think that Serena's husband was not as well off as the Macmillans. Moreover, having Serena's wedding on the same scale as Arabella's would indirectly disrespect the Macmillan family. Furthermore, considering they had deprived Arabella of so much over the past 18 years, they thought having Serena's wedding on the same scale would be unfair to Arabella. Upon hearing this, Serena felt her earlier feelings of gratitude vanish, which was replaced by a glimmer of disappointment in her eyes, but she dared not reveal that. Ever since Arabella returned to this family, everything that belonged to Serena was snatched away, leaving her with nothing. Even the love her grandmother had for her had dwindled. Arabella, however, calmly said, "The scale of the wedding doesn't matter, as long as he truly loves me." "You are indeed special," Cornelia said, looking at her appreciatively. "I just wonder when your grandfather will wake up, and if he'll be able to see you two get married." "He should be awake in a day or two," Arabella responded. "Really?" Cornelia asked, surprised. "Are you sure?" "Yes," Arabella said, confident in her medical skills. If it weren't for the pill that had rolled under David's shoe previously, her grandparents would have recovered within a month. Later, finding the medicine took quite a bit of time. "Mom, Bella's a miracle doctor," Louisa assured her, grinning. "If she says it'll work, then it definitely will." "Is your grandfather's condition severe? Will he be able to walk after he wakes up?" Cornelia asked seriously. "Neither of you will be able to walk for the time being," Arabella admitted, "but you can both use wheelchairs to get some fresh air outside." Upon hearing that they would not be able to walk, Cornelia was a bit disappointed, but she quickly asked, "When can we be discharged?" "In about 1 or 2 days after you wake up," Arabella answered. "I'll bring the rest of the medicine home, but it's a bit bitter. You'll have to take it." "That's all right," Cornelia replied, her eyes crinkling in a smile. She seemed to be more pleased with her biological granddaughter than before. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Lucas, Beverly, and Alma arrived. "Mom, I rushed right over when I heard you woke up. I can't believe it's true." Beverly dashed towards Cornelia, wrapping her in a warm embrace, her cries filled with deep emotion. "We were so worried about you. Thank God you're awake. I've heard you visited half as often as Louisa," Cornelia said, feigning annoyance. "Mom, we've been busy. Louisa and Kenneth were here too, and Serena and Bella." Beverly looked around, noticing the other people in the room. She praised Arabella in front of everyone. "This girl is polite, responsible, beautiful, and talented." "Yeah, Beverly and I both adore her," Lucas interjected. "I also like Bella, Serena, don't you?" Alma never missed an opportunity to provoke Serena. Serena gave a graceful smile. "Of course, who wouldn't like such an outstanding girl? I thought you might hold a grudge against Bella because of Romeo," Alma said, her smile innocent and pure. "Why would I? Who my brother-in-law likes is his business. Besides, I have a boyfriend now." Serena suppressed her urge to hit Alma, maintaining her polite smile. "Thank you for your blessings." Cornelia, of course, knew her two granddaughters loved to bicker whenever they met. Yet, after so many years, she saw their disputes as harmless banter between children. She had grown accustomed to it. "You give me a headache as soon as you arrive," Cornelia chuckled. "Grandma, you complain if we don't come, and you complain when we do. So should we come or not?" Alma complained playfully, taking Cornelia's hand. "Do you only not get a headache when Serena visits? You've always favored her." "Nonsense. I treat all my granddaughters equally," Cornelia retorted, suddenly realizing one was missing. "Where's your sister?" "She's still abroad and couldn't make it back." Seeing Cornelia's slightly annoyed expression, Alma quickly added, "If she knew you were awake, she'd be on the next flight home." Cornelia chuckled. After a while of casual conversation, Alma suggested, "Serena, I heard you've been making fruit salad lately. How about making one for Grandma?" "Can Grandma eat fruit?" Serena looked at Arabella for an answer. "Yes, in moderation." Serena reluctantly picked up a few different types of fruit, planning to make a beautiful tree-shaped fruit salad for her grandmother. "Serena, let me help." Knowing Alma had ulterior motives, Serena quickly declined. "No need, I can handle it. You should stay with Grandma." "Are you scared I'll steal your thunder? I'm just an assistant, don't worry." Alma cheerfully walked over, picked up a bunch of grapes, and started washing them. The others didn't think much of it. Their attention returned to Cornelia's health. Upon learning that Cornelia woke up because of Arabella's medicine, Lucas and Beverly were in disbelief. They never expected their niece to be a miracle doctor. Alma saw everyone's attention was elsewhere, and glanced at Serena, who was peeling an apple. Alma nudged Serena with her elbow, promptly turning around to ask, "Kenneth, Louisa, what kind of fruit would you like? I'll wash them all together." Serena, jostled by the unexpected nudge, accidentally sliced her own finger. A thin line of blood appeared. Pretending to be surprised, Alma turned back. "Oh, Serena. What happened? Did you cut your finger? How careless." "Mom, call the nurse quickly. A cut could lead to an infection if not treated properly." Before Serena could retort, Alma intercepted again. "Serena, are you in a lot of pain? Hang in there, the nurse will be here soon." She took the fruit and the peeler from Serena's hand, feigning worry. "You should go and have that wound dressed. I'll take care of the rest, but I can't make a fruit salad. We'll have to wait for you to do it for Grandma." "Did Serena cut her finger?" Cornelia asked and called for the nurse immediately. "Take Serena to get her wound looked at." "Certainly, madam," the nurse responded politely and quickly whisked Serena away. Serena never used to know how to make a fruit salad, let alone peel fruits. Alma sighed as she washed the fruits. "Unlike me, I've been slaving away in the kitchen since I was a kid." "What do you mean slaving?" "I was training you." Beverly feigned anger. "Yeah, right. You just didn't pamper your children like they do." Upon hearing this, Beverly turned to Cornelia. "Mom, look at your darling granddaughter. Cornelia was lost in thought. She pondered on Alma's words. Serena never knew how to peel fruits, let alone make a fruit salad. Had she learned to impress the family? If that were true, Serena's situation was a bit pitiful. Suddenly, Alma interrupted Cornelia's thoughts. "Grandma, my mom is ratting me out again. You have to say something." Arabella, on the other hand, watched the scene with indifference. She thought Serena was silly for not defending herself and letting others slander her. However, she chose to stay out of it and simply watched the drama unfold. Alma sneaked a look at Arabella in the mirror. Seeing that she was unaffected by the conversation, Alma felt a pang of discomfort. She had insinuated that Arabella's parents adored Serena, hoping to invoke jealousy in Arabella. But Arabella didn't react at all. After cutting the fruit, Alma carefully set aside a small portion on a separate plate, announcing, "I've saved this plate for Serena. None of you are allowed to touch it." Cornelia chuckled. "You two sisters have always been at odds, but you always think of each other." "Grandma, try some of the fruit I cut." Alma presented the fruit tray to Cornelia, picking up a slice of apple for her. "I know you love apples. Try it and tell me if my fruit is sweeter than Serena's." Cornelia couldn't help but laugh. "Why does everything have to be a competition with Serena?" "Because you favor her." Alma grinned, trying to charm Cornelia. After a while, she moved the fruit tray in front of Arabella. "Bella, do you want some?" "You didn't even offer to your parents or to your uncle and aunt first." Cornelia chuckled. "It seems you really adore your sister. Who wouldn't admire Bella? She's so accomplished." Alma's smile was innocent and pure. Arabella, however, was not interested. She simply replied, "I'm not hungry." Alma suddenly looked hurt. "Is my fruit salad not appealing?" All eyes turned to Arabella, seemingly clueless as to why she would reject Alma's offering. Arabella said indifferently, "My insulin, neuropeptide, and cholecystokinin levels are high right now, and the fiber in the fruit will absorb electrolytes, trace elements, and organic acids. The bananas in the dish contain tannins, which will bind with trace elements like iron and calcium, forming even harder substances, overloading my pancreas." The crowd was dumbfounded. Nobody understood what she was talking about. In simpler terms, she had eaten something before arriving, and consuming fruit now would affect her digestion and absorption. That's it. But nobody understood what she meant. Seeing her speaking confidently, everyone just nodded along. Even Cornelia expressed concern. "Well, maybe you shouldn't eat then. Your health is important." From Arabella's calm and indifferent eyes, Alma couldn't help but feel that Arabella was playing her, but she couldn't prove it. All she could do was serve the fruit salad to others. After a while, Alma checked the time. "Why hasn't Serena returned yet? I'll go check on her." Alma always worrying about Serena. Cornelia chuckled. "Isn't that the truth? They might squabble when they're together, but when they're apart, they can't stop thinking about each other. That's sisterhood." Beverly laughed. Outside the hospital room, Serena had just finished bandaging her finger when she saw Alma coming her way. She was seething with anger and had nowhere to vent. Seeing Alma's smug face, she marched over. "Alma." Before she could finish, Alma suddenly grabbed her bandaged finger. "Serena, are you all right? Grandma specifically asked me to look after you. Let me see how well your finger is bandaged." "Ah." Serena pulled her hand away in anger, her brows furrowing in pain. Before Serena could get away, Alma gave her wound a firm squeeze, worsening the pain. A couple of nurses looked over, and Alma pretended to be concerned again. "Serena, did the nurse upset you by not bandaging your finger properly? Come on, they're just trying to make a living. You shouldn't be so demanding." The nurses were touched. They thought Ms. Alma was so kind. "Alma." Serena gritted her teeth in anger. "You should know that Grandma hates people who lack manners. Even if you're right, causing a ruckus here will only embarrass the Collins family." Alma crossed her arms and said leisurely, "Family troubles should not be publicly aired, got it? You'll pay for this." Serena was about to storm off. But Alma stuck out her foot, causing Serena to stumble. This time, Serena couldn't hold back anymore. She raised her hand in anger. but Alma quickly backed off and raised her voice. "Serena, are you going to hit me just because I stood up for the nurse? You're the one I'm going to hit." Serena aimed a kick at Alma. Alma backed away in fear. "Don't do this, people will see. This is a public place. Even if you don't care about the Collins family's reputation, don't you value our sisterhood?" Cut the crap. Serena tried to kick Alma several times, but each time Alma missed her target, which only fueled her anger. She kept chasing her, trying to land a kick. Alma, pretending to avoid her, led Serena to the fire exit stairs where it was deserted. She clenched her fists and delivered a solid punch to Serena's stomach. Serena, who was already dealing with her period, was so pained by the punch that she immediately crouched down, unable to utter a word. Alma grabbed her by the hair, looked down at her with a cold smirk and said, still as dumb as ever, "You dare to compete with me? You're just a babe in the woods. Let go." Serena's eyes were filled with rage, but she was unable to break free. "Do you know why I hate you more than Arabella? Because you're as dumb as a brick, incompetent, and have a terrible temper. Do you think just because Grandma woke up, you have a guardian angel?" Alma kept a firm grip on her hair as she continued, "Grandma values kinship more than anyone. And now she had such an outstanding granddaughter like Arabella. Do you think you can outshine Arabella? Dream on." When Serena noticed that Alma was not letting go, she twisted her thigh hard. Ah! The pain made Alma let go, but she wasn't willing to give up that easily, so she kicked Serena's backside. Serena fell on the ground, grinding her teeth in anger. "Alma, do you keep provoking me because you think I'm an easy target?" "Exactly. Is there anyone more foolish and easier to bully in this house than you? Besides, seeing you lose your cool like this is quite entertaining." Serena clenched her fists, wanting nothing more than to go up and punch her. "Think twice if you can even take me down, or else you'll be the one asking for trouble." Alma continued to ridicule. "Go look at your pathetic self in the mirror. You think you stand a chance with Romeo? Disgusting." As Alma was about to leave the fire exit stairs, she dramatically screamed and acted as if Serena had pushed her down the stairs. She held her stomach, pretending to be a damsel in distress. "Serena, no matter how you treat me, you'll always be my sister. I will forgive you." A few nurses not too far away saw this and sympathized with Alma, while growing a distaste for Serena. In the hospital room, Cornelia was chatting away with Arabella until she got tired and had to lie down to rest. Arabella tucked her in and prepared to leave with her parents. Lucas and Beverly were also ready to leave. Everyone left the room together. Serena came back and didn't say a word, her eyes filled with dissatisfaction when looking at Alma. Alma, far from being afraid, went to Arabella. "Bella, I need to talk to you." Alma, always talking about Bella. "Let them chat." "We'll go ahead," said Beverly, taking Louisa's hand and chatting about recent events while they walked away. Alma saw Serena walking ahead and then quietly said to Arabella, "I went to check on Serena's bandages out of goodwill, and she pretended to hesitate, but finally blurted out, she wanted to team up with me to drive you out of the Collins family." Arabella didn't show any emotion and said, "Oh. She's just an adopted daughter of the family, and she wants to replace you." Alma couldn't help but add, "Bella, aren't you angry?" "I'm not angry, just a little surprised." "You're surprised too, right?" Alma was about to continue. Arabella interrupted her. "Serena wouldn't say such a thing. Stop acting in front of me. Not everyone is as stupid as you. Bella, do you trust Serena more than you trust me?" Alma pretended to be hurt. "Yes, we've had misunderstandings before, but this time, I am sincerely looking out for you. I'm risking everything to tell you this." "I don't trust either of you," said Arabella, her voice as cool as a snowflake landing on a winter's morn. "I just know who's more trustworthy. Do you think your little schemes go unnoticed? Save your second-rate tricks. I don't have the time or patience for your circus acts." With that, she strode off with her long legs, leaving Alma trailing in her wake. Alma watched her retreating back, her mind racing. She couldn't let it end like this. With a huff, she hurried after Arabella. "All right, yes, I admit it. I made it all up. I just want to join forces with you and drive Serena out of the Collins family. What do you say? Care to team up?" Arabella looked at her as if she had suddenly sprouted 2 heads. "What the hell is wrong with you? Is she eating your food, drinking your water, or spending your money? What business of yours is it if she stays or goes? Keep this up, and you'll be the first one out of the Collins family." "What?" Alma hadn't expected Arabella to stand up for Serena, and she certainly hadn't expected such conviction in her voice. "So, you're saying you'd stand against me for her? Think about it, Arabella. Serena doesn't have a drop of Collins blood in her. Me? I'm purebred Collins. Do you think you can just kick me out? Think again. Is that so?" Arabella's cold gaze made Alma shiver. Arabella's eyes held a promise that somehow she could single-handedly kick Alma out of the Collins family. But she hadn't done something that was so terrible. However, Arabella's gaze made Alma uneasy. Louisa smiled as Arabella approached. "What were you two talking about? Finished already?" "We are just discussing a little alliance." Arabella's words took everyone by surprise, not just Louisa and Beverly, but Serena and even Alma herself. That damned Arabella. Alma was seething. Alliance? What alliance? Beverly seemed to have an inkling, but she couldn't believe Arabella would be so brazen. Trying to smooth things over, she said, "Is Alma starting a business?" "You'll have to ask her." Arabella's answer was evasive, but the look in her eyes made Beverly uneasy. The girl was too smart. She'd pieced together Beverly's suspicions. And Alma was a fool. Of all the people she could have chosen, she chose Arabella. Beverly chuckled nervously. "Ignore her, Louisa. Now, where were we?" The conversation moved on. Arabella glanced at Alma, who was fuming. Serena, too, seemed to have figured out what Arabella meant by an alliance. She glared at Alma, anger flaring in her eyes. This was it. Alma had to be taught a lesson. She'd gone too far. With that thought, Serena pulled out her phone and sent a WhatsApp message to Martha. Martha had been with her for the past 18 years, even more so than Louisa. So naturally, whenever Serena faced trouble, Martha was the first person she turned to. Half an hour later, Arabella had just returned to Reflections Villa when she received an unexpected phone call. "Boss, the folks from Solterra Cybersecurity Center want you to swing by." Something up. Arabella's mind was filled with question marks at the news. The entire cybersecurity center boasted hundreds of computer wizards, yet they couldn't fend off the attacker? Was the attacker that powerful? "They want you to head over now. They said a car will pick you up and take you to the center," reported her subordinate. "I didn't want to expose your identity, so I arranged for them to pick you up at the church in the suburbs." "All right." This time, Arabella didn't inquire about the payment, as personal gain seemed insignificant compared to the nation's affairs at hand. Shortly after, Arabella arrived at the cybersecurity center's building, escorted by a private vehicle. This was her first time visiting such a place. Upon hearing of her arrival, the director hurriedly greeted her. "Alex, we've been waiting for you. Our last line of defense is about to fall. Please come with me." In the main hall, hundreds of security personnel sat in front of computers, desperately fending off the attacker's onslaught. A massive electronic screen displayed the real-time progress of the situation. The sounds of fervent keyboard typing echoed in the air. Arabella was speechless. "Alex, this is your workstation. Thank you for your efforts," said the director, who then returned to his office to call another expert. "Clark, it's your turn to step up. It's already a hair's breadth from disaster out there. Can you maybe finish your snack later?" The man referred to as Clark was lounging on a couch. A few people massaged him while another fed him snacks. The handsome features of his face were flawless under the light, breathtakingly beautiful. "It's clearly a dire situation if they're even calling in little girl," he responded lazily, his voice as laid-back and magnetic as his demeanor. "Little girl?" The director paused before quickly realizing, "That's Alex." "Alex?" Finally, a glimmer of interest sparked in the man's eyes. The infamous hacker Alex, who had remained at the top of the bounty list for years, was a little girl? Interesting. He was curious to see how long this little girl could hold on. Clark, when are you going to step in? If you don't soon, the last line of defense will. The director's words were interrupted by a series of beeps emanating from the electronic screen. Firewall level 1 successfully repaired. Not only the director and the man on the couch, but even the hundreds of computer wizards outside were all looking at Arabella in disbelief. Arabella's slender fingers danced across the keyboard, inputting a series of codes. Soon, the massive electronic screen once again chimed in. Beep beep beep, firewall level 2 successfully repaired. Everyone was so shocked their jaws nearly dropped. Beep beep beep, firewall level 3 successfully repaired. Arabella's movements were quick, as natural as if she were simply typing in a chat. Her expression didn't change much. She just kept her eyes on the computer screen. Soon, the system chimed in again, signaling that the 4th and 5th level firewalls had been successfully repaired. Everyone had stopped what they were doing, staring in disbelief at this teenager. Who was she? How did she manage to repair all 5 firewalls in such a short amount of time?
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.